What's up, you guys? Hope everybody's doing well. I took a week off. I was down in Honduras and Mexico on a family vacation. My parents are celebrating their anniversary, so I went down and kind of hung out with them, and we had a good time over the past week. I come back, and not surprisingly, there is a Twitter controversy, as is the case on any day that ends in Y. I came across this post, and this was shared by a ton of people. So this guy named Steve Dees, I don't know who he is, but it seems like he has a pretty big account. There was a ad that he shared that purportedly was going around in Iowa that was purportedly sent out from the Ron DeSantis campaign smearing former President Trump, right? So this is what it looks like. This is the front of the ad. You guys may have seen it. This is the back of the purported mailer. Obviously, it's about trans rights and gay rights, attempting to smear President Trump because of his past record of being pretty supportive of those issues that are still opposed by a lot of conservatives. I noticed that Newsweek did a write-up on this because it went viral with so many people sharing it, suggesting that the DeSantis camp sent this out as sort of a way to try to smear former President Donald Trump in the run-up to the primary election here, which would be kind of dirty. So as Newsweek writes, I'm just going to read from this article here. An alleged Iowa political campaign ad which criticizes Donald Trump's previous pro-LGBTQ comments has been condemned by conservative figures. The ad, first reported by Bleeding Heartland blog, so this is a little political blog out of Iowa, describes the former president as a transgender trailblazer for expressing support for transgender women to compete in Miss Universe competitions. Bleeding Heartland, which described itself as a progressive community blog for Iowa, said that the ad was mailed to some households in the Hawkeye State. The ad noted that Trump held an event at his Mar-a-Lago resort in December 2022, in which he described how he is fighting for the gay community at the gala for the Log Cabin Republicans, the largest GOP organization representing LGBTQ people. The ad appeared aimed at creating a negative view of Trump, the frontrunner for the nomination among Republican voters in Iowa, which will hold the first in the nation GOP presidential primary caucus on January 15th, 2024 next year. The Newsweek piece continues, while the flyer touches on the same lines of attack that featured in a controversial ad from fellow GOP 2024 hopeful Ron DeSantis. The Iowa ad does not come from the Florida governor's campaign team. Excuse me. The advertisement states it was paid for by Advancing Our Values Group. Newsweek, they spelled values wrong, but whenever copywriter look at this. Paid for by the Advancing Our Values Group, which was registered as a nonprofit entity on June 27th, as reported by Bleeding Heartland. So, immediately this was shared ad nauseum by so many conservatives, even conservatives with major accounts. Something just did not sit with me when it came to this particular article. It didn't seem right. It was too on the nose that the DeSantis camp would send this out. So I took a look at this and I started digging into it. And I did an image search for the actual ad to see how many people had received the ad and posted images of it on social media, right? So just scrolling through Twitter, the first thing I noticed is that there weren't a lot of people who had even received this ad. The only image that anybody shared was the image that was posted directly to the Bleeding Heart website, the Bleeding Heartland website, Now, a couple interesting things you'll note. So immediately I noticed that this doesn't even look like a real campaign ad, right? If you look at this mailer, there is no barcode listed where the name and address would be. There's no name, there's no address. This doesn't look like it was sent out to anybody. This looks like it was just printed off on cardstock at somebody's home or office. Somebody took a picture of it and posted it online. So just to give you an example of what a real political mailer would look like, here's one that I pulled up just on a basic web search, right? So you'll see down on the right, you'll see the 65 bar code from the U.S. Postal Service. You'll see the person's address. You'll see that their name was there as well, which is blurred out for their own protection, obviously. This is a real mailer that was sent. There's another example right here that shows you the same thing. Again, you have the mail codes that are listed there. You got a name, you got an address, you got other text. It's in the right spot. These are real mailer ads that went out. This ad from Bleeding, that's posted to Bleeding Heartland. Again, this is a progressive blog. Keep that in mind. It's going to be relevant in a couple minutes here. This ad doesn't look like it's real at all. So as I went through this and kind of did a little bit more research, there are some other things that struck me as interesting, which I document in an article that I wrote about this over at timcast.com. Now, the name of the party that was listed on the ad as being responsible for this mailer was called Advancing Our Values. So one interesting thing about them is that this organization was just registered with the Iowa Secretary of State a couple weeks ago, as noted in the Newsweek piece. We can go right to the Secretary of State's website and pull up the registration. So we got it right here. They don't have a board of directors. They're real. It's a real suspect. When it comes to the officers, there's only one guy listed here. I'm not going to click on it because it does reveal what looks like his personal address, and I don't want to get accused of doxing anybody and have something happen to the video. So you're more than welcome to go check it out yourself. I'm not going to put it up on the screen. So that's a little shady. This organization came out of nowhere. There's no record of it on FEC filings. Any organization that's receiving campaign money or affiliate with a campaign, you have to be listed and registered as operating with a campaign, just to not get too in the weeds on that on that point. This organization appears nowhere other than this registration, right? The other piece of this is that the mailer featured an address for advancing our values. And when we do an address search under Bizipedia for that particular address, which is listed as 100 Court Avenue, Suite 201 in Des Moines, Iowa. Again, it's a business address, so I have no problem talking about that one online here. But when we take a look at the records for that address, there are 96 separate companies that have an address matching the one that is purportedly for this organization that sent out this mailer that is attacking former President Donald Trump. So the company that looks like it registered advancing our values is called Cogency Global, right? So this is an agency that registers corporations and nonprofits. I reached out to them for comment to try to get more information about this, and obviously they wouldn't provide anything. All of their client information is confidential. I wasn't expecting to get anything, but they did confirm those suspicions. So they wouldn't provide any information. But somebody else online did some additional digging, and one of the things that we can see is that this address also traces back to an organization called Iowa Forward. Now, interestingly enough, Iowa Forward is very clearly a progressive organization. Now, after my story ran exposing this, Iowa Forward, here's what the site looks like today. They took their site offline. So this is now a private site where you need to have a login credential in order to get in and view the information that's on the site, which isn't a whole lot. It's basically a small landing page. I'm not sure if everything is on the up and up. I don't know why they would have taken their site down, but we have this thing called the Internet Archive. So when we check the archive, here's what the page looked like before my story ran. Again, if everything is on the up and up and the DeSantis campaign was really behind this, I don't understand why this organization would need to start doing things like taking the webpage down. But again, it's a basic webpage, right? Before I click on this link, I do want to go over one thing. So Influence Watch has called Iowa Forward a left of center advocacy group. And they note that the group was registered with the state of Iowa in 2019 under the name Heartland Forward. That group is also a progressive group. On its own website, it says it's committed to job creation, knowledge-based and inclusive growth, progressive language, and improved health outcomes, just to list a few of their priorities, right? Now, when you go to the Iowa Forward website, so already we got two progressive organizations. When we go to the website says Iowa Forward is a nonprofit organization dedicated to fighting for economic opportunity for all Iowans. We run the Iowa Voices campaign. Check it out here, iowavoices.org. When we click that link, we go to iowavoices.org. We're taken to this page, another progressive organization, which their website, again, is very basic. It says, we are a communications hub testing progressive messages that inspire voters and aid in the fight for working families. Using data and research, we arm activists, advocates, and legislators with messages that will help make Iowa a great place for all to live, work, and to raise a family. At the very bottom, it's paid for by Progress Iowa, another progressive organization. Now, I put all this in one place, so if you just want to get all this information without having to click through all these websites, you can go read my article over at Timcast. I don't know when you're going to be receiving this video, but click on any article that I wrote and click on my name, and you'll be able to scroll down and find it pretty easily. All right. The title of the article is Anti-Trump Iowa Attack Ad Blamed on DeSantis Campaign is linked to shadowy Democrat activist network. Now, as far as this last organization, so Progress Iowa is a progressive organization that says it has over 100,000 members, and that's right there on the website. You guys can check that out. In 2021, I mean, this Iowa Forward provided a $50,000 grant to Progress Now. It says it's nonpartisan, but I mean, again, right on the website, it says that it exists to promote progressive ideas and causes with creative earned media strategies, targeted email campaigns, and cutting edge new media. Looks like some of that new media might be fake mailers that are sent out. But all this information is here. So of everything that's publicly available at this point, you know, we have a lot of information that suggests, not definitive proof, but suggests that this ad that was attributed to the DeSantis campaign actually came from Democrats who are trying to sow even more discord within the conservative movement. You know, I'm not weighing in support or defense of anybody during the primary season here. I'm not pro or anti anybody. I'm just trying to call balls and strikes. But it looks like a lot of the outrage that people had expressed online over the DeSantis campaign sending this out was maybe a little bit misplaced. And, you know, it's something that I hope to see. I hope to see conservatives be a little bit more careful when it comes to the information that we share this election cycle, because we have a habit of jumping on things real soon that suits or fits a narrative or preconceived notion that we have of the world. And even some bigger accounts we don't always do our homework. So, I mean, just to give you another example, we saw this a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, with the black graduation ceremony at UC Berkeley over in California. I think it was Kaneko the Great. Somebody had posted a video of this graduation, and they said it was segregated and it was blacks only, and how dare we return to Jim Crow days, and the post went viral. Millions of people saw it. It was getting shared all over the internet, and lo and behold, it turns out not to be true. It took me about 3 minutes to realize it was fake by doing a simple Google search. The actual commencement ceremony at UC Berkeley was held a couple weeks before. It wasn't even the same week. So what they do is what happens at a lot of other universities, which is you have your commencement ceremony, and then you have individual departments or other organizations that have their own celebrations that are separate from the actual commencement. This particular incident was, it was a ceremony that was put on by the African American Studies department. That's why there were a lot of black people there, and it wasn't completely segregated. It was open to anybody, but it's a black studies department, so obviously it's going to be overrepresented with African Americans. Yet that didn't stop conservatives from spreading this false story that UC Berkeley was doing racist, segregated graduation ceremony. So again, if you hear something that sounds explosive, if you hear something that sounds really incendiary, or something that's real on the nose, I mean, my guidance at this point is to just take it with a grain of salt, give it a day, do a little bit of digging to find out if it's true. But it looks like this Iowa Voices story, or this story about the Iowa mailer having gone out attacking Donald Trump in the name of the DeSantis campaign, was all just a bunch of bull. So if you guys find any other information on it, feel free to send it over. I'm happy to check it out. Other than that, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. Make sure you forward this content over so we can kind of get around these internet filters. I'm trying to bang out more video content for you guys. So let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys soon. Deuces.